everyone, and welcome back to today's video lesson. Today we are going to be doing a music video lesson. Now, as I explained last week, the lessons this week are going to be a little bit different. There's only going to be 4 of them, one on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday, and this is because on Friday the school closes for the summer holidays. And for these 4 lessons that I'm going to do this week, they are going to be short, practical activities that you can do. They are not going to be a maths, English and a phonics. They're just going to be kind of like a Mystery Friday video, but every day. So, for today's music lesson, I chose to do this lesson for 3 reasons. 1, because it's quite relaxing. It's quite a nice, sort of calm lesson to do. Number 2, because it's raining outside today and it is something that can be done in the dry. Number 3 is because it also doesn't require a lot of resources for this lesson. It's just, you need a phone, laptop, tablet, TV, something that can play a YouTube video, and that's all you need for today's lesson. Also, it is a lesson that will be quite familiar in structure for the year 1s and 2s. It will be a structure that you recognise because the current year 1s and the current year 2s have had a lesson similar to this with me before, and we've looked at different kinds of music and listened to different musical pieces. So for today's lesson, we are going to be listening to a piece of music called Peter and the Wolf, and it's composed by a man called Sergei Prokofiev. Now, Sergei Prokofiev was very well known for telling stories through his music. Now, this story is a children's story and is one of my favourite pieces of music. It's absolutely beautiful and it tells the story really, really well. So before we get to listening to that piece of music and talking about the task I would like you to do, I'm going to tell you a little bit about who Sergei Prokofiev is. So, Sergei Prokofiev has a little picture on this slide down at the bottom. That's Sergei, and he was a Russian composer. A composer is a person who writes music as their job, as their profession. A composer, for a piece of music, would write down the musical notes that are needed for the piece of music. He would come up with the idea, and he would also choose which instruments he wants to play that piece of music. So Sergei Prokofiev was born in 1891 in the Ukraine, and Sergei began composing pieces of music at the age of 5, and he was in part inspired by his mother, who was also a very good pianist, and she taught him a lot of what he knew about music. Sergei was a good musician, and he moved to St. Petersburg in Russia with his mum, where he studied music. But during this time, 2 events in the world happened. The first event was the First World War, and the second one was an event that happened in Russia, which was the Russian Revolution. This made living in Russia very difficult, and so Sergei left Russia and lived in a number of different countries. He lived in Paris in France, and he also lived in the United States of America, the USA. During this time, he wrote ballets, operas, soundtracks for films, and he was especially good at telling stories through his music. Eventually, he returned to Russia, where he died in 1953. So, the story of Peter and the Wolf, which is told by Prokofiev, is one of Sergei's most famous pieces of music. And it is a story about a boy called Peter and his grandfather, and they live together in a little house. His grandfather does not like Peter going out of the garden because he is worried that Peter will get hurt because there are lots of wolves around. In this story, Peter leaves the garden and comes across a wolf. I wonder what happens next. You're going to have to listen to the piece of music to find out. So, I have linked the video that I would like you to watch. It's got pictures accompanying the music, so you can watch the story as well as it unfolds. The video is about half an hour long. You don't have to listen to it all in one go. You can listen to it in different chunks. This is something that you can do that's just really a quiet activity. I really enjoyed sharing this in class, and I remember that the current year twos have definitely heard this piece of music with me before, and they really enjoyed watching this video. So I would like you to watch it, and I would like you to listen very, very carefully to it. And when listening and watching, I would like you to do some thinking, and maybe if an adult is available, to do some talking and discussing. So I'd like you to think about the story in Peter and the Wolf. What happens in the story? Who are the characters? Does the music change for each character? How does it change? When you're thinking about how the music changes for each character, I would like you to think about the pitch. Does the music get higher or lower? I would also like you to think about the pace. Does the music get faster or slower? And I'd like you to also think, does the music sound like each character? Do you think the music is a good representation of each character? I would also like you to think, do you like the piece of music? And how does the music make you feel? At different points in the story, you might feel differently about what's happening. As I say, this is a very beautiful piece of music. If you have a little watch, have a little listen, I'd love to hear you share your thoughts about it on Teams. And I hope that you have a really nice, relaxing Monday. And I will see you tomorrow for our second video. Bye!